So I'll be honest, I wasn't planning on doing a video about Halloween this morning, but sometimes news comes at you and you have absolutely no choice. And we're going to talk about what was just dropped by IGN and what is coming for the Halloween universe for a franchise that has been desperately starved for a video game of its own right. And we're going to talk about that right now. Let's go over the IGN article and take a look at what it says. So this news broke about an hour ago, and it's an exclusive with IGN that Halloween is getting its own Unreal 5 games plural, with John Carpenter intimately involved. Evil Dead the Game studio Boss Team Games are working on 2 games based on the 1978 horror classic. The 2 new games based on the hot classic are in development at Boss Team Games. With details are limited, both games are being developed in conjunction with producers of the Halloween franchise. What's more, one of the games is being developed on Unreal 5 and will include input from the original director, John Carpenter. As a huge gamer myself, I'm thrilled to bring Michael Myers to life in a game, and my hope is to scare you silly, said Carpenter, who will be intimately involved with the project. According to the official release, the game will allow players to relive moments from the film and play as classic characters from one of the most iconic, important horror films of all time. 2 new games are being developed in association with Compass International Pictures and Further Front, with Unreal 5 projects still in early development. While Halloween is more than 45 years, there have been a few video games based on the legendary franchise, the closest being the actual 1983 Atari 2600, where you play as the babysitter Laurie Strode while trying to save room while being hunted by Michael Myers. The shape is also available in Dead by Daylight. So that is what we know. This is it. This is the news. Now, the interesting thing to me is that there's 2 different games. One we're going to talk about is the Unreal 5 game, and I feel like the Unreal 5 game is probably going to be a single-player game, which is what horror fans have been absolutely starved for, a single-player horror game which doesn't rely on ASIM components. The other one I think is absolutely going to be an ASIM, and Boss Team Games needs to really put their best foot forward with what happened with, unfortunately, Evil Dead the Game. And I have a feeling here that they're going to focus strictly on the Carpenter-owned portions, which will be 1 and 2. If you start going into all the stuff with Blumhouse or with Rob Zombie, you have a lot of different avenues, a lot of different possibilities, much like Evil Dead, but a lot of different ownership all over the frickin' place. And I would prefer that they just kind of stay to the original. Now, Danny McBride is renowned for being pretty easy to work with, and a lot of people like him. So if they wanted to go to the new stuff, they probably could. But I'm not worried about that right now. The fact that the thing that stands out to me, though, has to be 2 games. 2 games is very, very surprising. I just assumed they'd probably have a Halloween ASIM, much like they did, of course, with Evil Dead the Game. But a single-player game seems like you're not going to bring out 2 ASIMs. You're just not doing it. One's going to be an ASIM, one's going to be a horror game. This is the best of both worlds, and if you're a Michael Myers and or Halloween fan, you are desperately just jumping up and down for this news. Like, this is the news you've been waiting for decades. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, and later, mates.